Okay, this is Hugo. We're doing a bit of groundwork here. Just sending him out so that he gets trust, gets hooked on. They say that's the word we use, is hooked on, and hooked on is basically he wants to follow me, he wants to trust me, and he doesn't want to run away. So you'll see after this little session here, he'll start to look and to ask me if he can come in. So watch his head turn as he comes around the corner. So he starts to look, and then he gives me one more look, and then I call him in, which is just looking at his hindquarters. So basically this hooking on process, I had about an hour session of the whole thing. So the hour was the lunging off lead and on lead. And this is just a little snippet of what we would call hooked on. But you can see his reservations. So his reservations is he doesn't want to get too close because I have taught him about distance. But he still wants to stay with me. He has an opportunity to run off or stop and smell something on the ground or go off and look over the fence, but he doesn't. So that's the term hooked on. So yes, I will be engaging him more in this because he shows almost like he's a bit suspicious still of why I'm asking him to do these. So I just want to behave like we're friends, we're chilled, but he's still got to follow me because I'm the leader and I know where we're going, sort of thing. So he's really intently watching me. This is a really clever move for him to do because when we first started, if I did this, he would rather turn his front feet away and walk away. So that was really good that he stayed in form and walked backwards quite straight. And then you can see there's been a couple of times there in the video here that I could see that I almost lost him. And that's why I put my hand out or I'll slap the side of my leg just to cue him to say, hey, focus on me. You can see he's definitely leaving distance behind me. So I've got quite a lot more video. As I said, it was an hour session. So what I ended up doing is putting him back on lead. And I decided to teach him to walk next to me. So his head was at my shoulders. And there was a cue for him to do that. So there was a cue for him to walk way behind me. And then there was a cue to walk with me. And the walking with me, I found later, made him feel more comfortable walking right beside me, which is great. And that's something that you don't know with every horse. Hugo's got his own personality, his own experiences in life, and we just have to sort of test each area or test each thing that we know that could give him the best chance of being happy and content with being with me. Most horses don't really want to be with you. They just want to be out in the paddock and and eat grass. But they don't tend to show it as much as Hugo. Hugo's got that suspicion about him. So I've put him back on lead here, and I'm basically teaching him to walk beside me. And he starts to walk ahead. So I do have to remind him a few times that even though I'm asking him to walk right next to me, it doesn't mean that his front feet should pass my feet. So a few reminders. It does shock him a little bit because he's very sensitive, but it's progress because you'll see at the end he's quite happy to stop when I stop. Now what I'm doing, if you can notice, every time we do stop, I bend forward before I take a step. I'm exaggerating that move. It won't be as exaggerated when it's all finished and shiny and perfect, but not that it's going to be perfect, but basically me leaning forward to take a step will be his cue that I'm going to have a motion of moving forward. So whether that motion is going to be a walk or a trot, but at the same time, you'll be able to, well, you won't be able to, sorry, because I'm talking over this, but I'm actually making a voice command. So for the walk, I tut with my tongue at the front of my mouth, so like that. And then that's very like subtly, I do that super subtle. And then for the trot, you'll see that I lean forward for the trot is I go, and that's with the side of my cheek and my tongue. So he's so sensitive that if I click like that, or even just kissing him on the nose sets him off. So I want to do a session of walk, stop, walk, trot, back to walk, stop. Because what's happening is each time I'm changing the transition, I'm giving him a voice command too. So he's almost getting desensitized to those noises, and he's realizing each time I click, he's not going to get a whip or anything. And remember, Hugo's had a life before me, and I can't find out what's happened to him in his life. So I can't find out whether he had trauma as a baby, whether he had trauma at all. I don't know whether this is just the way he was made, the way he was born, being so sensitive, but noises, fast moves, all of those kind of give him the jitters. And the jitters doesn't necessarily mean he's going to run away. He just has a body spasm. He jumps, or he twitches or something like that. And yeah, all of this is good for him. So it started out pretty ugly, the trotting phase. You can see that I'm starting to ask him to trot now when I jog, and he's doing it beautifully. I didn't actually put the snippet in, but when I started asking him to trot on lead, he didn't. He stayed walking, and here is me like pulling the rope, trotting, and he wasn't moving. I didn't leave it like that for long. I knew what to do because we have to train our babies to trot next to us when we're weaning them. So I knew to send the rope flinging behind me to go towards his hindquarters, which was quite messy. But once he picked it up a couple of times, that the rope was going to come and sort of send him forward if he didn't trot, he started trotting. So I was happy it was 2 or 3 goes and we got trotting. So what you saw at the beginning of that little spiel on lead was him still a bit messy, and then eventually towards the end here you saw him trotting when I began to jog. So that was a really, really good session. I really enjoyed teaching him.